Hello, welcome to episode 98 of the Productive Wellbeing Show with me, your host, Abigail Barnes, and you are joining us for day 10 of our 12 days of Christmas. And on this episode, I am delighted to be joined by Jennifer Corcoran, a multi-award-winning LinkedIn trainer, Simon Alexander Ong, a multi-award-winning executive coach and global speaker, Claire Clotty, an international broadcast journalist, and Sonia Morton-Firth, host of the Sonia Morton-Firth Show, property investor, executive coach, and founder of the SMF Productions. This is going to be an exciting show, guys, let me just tell you. So as you are joining us, please let us know where you're joining from. Leave a message, any questions you have, leave them in the comments. If you're watching on the replay, let us know on the replay where you're joining from and any questions that you have. And we are going to try and keep this to 45 minutes. But I'm so excited. I have no idea. So welcome to the show, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. I had to remember to unmute.
Thank you so much, Abby.
Thank you, Abby. I look forward to it.
Yay. Right. Well, let's get started. 2020 has been the most life-changing year for most of us in many different ways for a variety of different reasons. And respectfully to the year, it has had some catastrophic results for some. And for others, it has just literally been like a storm that has come and it has gone and it has come and it has gone and it has come and it has gone. I could carry on. So I really want to know from each of you, what's been your sort of thing that you are taking away from 2020? So rather than us today focusing on what's happened and how you've rebuilt it, I'd love us to be able to go into the gratitude of let's look for something positive, because it was Steve Jobs, the late Steve Jobs, who said we can only join up the dots when we look back. But in order to join up the dots, we need to have had enough life going. So we're at the end of this marathon year. Claire, let's start with you. What is one thing that you can say that you are grateful for now that you've had enough time in the year to,
I think that's exactly it. It's time, a time to think. I think Anne Klein said it very well. Being a freelance broadcast journalist, a stakeholder engagement manager, a mother, a fiance, all things to everyone. Sometimes you make time in little pockets and that costs money, whether it's therapy or, massages here and there or a holiday, but actually pausing and not doing and exercising, being, oh my gosh, transformational and very difficult to achieve. Actually, you think you are what you do, but you're not. You are who you are. And sometimes you need to sit in that to really understand who you want to be going forward. And so I really appreciate that time.
I love that. Yeah, because it's one of those things where many of us, depending where we are on our spiritual journey, if you like, our awakening to life, many of us haven't recognized that we have been very good at being busy. And in a year where you can't be busy, you have to sit your butt down, you have to face some home truths, look at some shadows, see some things, some sides of yourself that maybe you don't want because there is nowhere to go. You've done all the Netflix, you've chatted to your friends, they've got nothing to talk about. There's nothing on the TV. There's no sport to distract us. It literally just is that. Oh, wow. So it's been a year of the internal work, whether we like it or not.
I was just going to say, who would have thought that it would be uncomfortable to sit in peace, which is something that we've always been striving for and we all want and desire. Yet when we get it, we're like, oh my gosh, this feels strange. I don't like it. Interesting.
Totally. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So Sonia, what's your thing that you can sort of see now with gratitude as the years rolled on?
Thanks, Abby. Well, first of all, I just want to say I completely agree with what Claire said as well. And that was something that was really powerful for me. I think, being this person that wants to do and achieve all the time, I find it very difficult just to come to terms with nothing to do and actually sitting in my own silence. So I completely resonate with what Claire's saying. Absolutely. I think the most fundamental thing for me, my lesson I'm really learning in 2020, is really not to attach to an outcome. And I think this is particularly important as we go into 2021 and we're all thinking about our goals and all the rest of it. I mean, I started 2020 in a beautiful place in Bali. I was on my spiritual quest, and I came back to London and I was giving a seminar on how do we goal set. And I started that coming from Bali of, well, actually, goals are, it's great to plan and it's great to have goals. But if you're fixated on the outcome, then that can be very, very dangerous. We're constantly chasing things. And I think what this year has shown us is if we went into this year with fixed goals, we were only setting ourselves up for failure, for stress. And, this has been such a year of uncertainty, and that's where all the stress comes from. So I think the most important thing for me and what I've learned is just enjoy the now. Enjoy the now. Make where you are now where you want to be. And that could mean lots of different things. So I actually moved home in all of this, and I wanted a beautiful home and I wanted beautiful surroundings. And I thought, I don't want to just keep thinking the future, oh, it'll come when, more abundance comes, or it'll come after the next thing. I thought, you know what? I'm going to create this right now. I need to be happy and in a joyful space now. Don't keep looking at the future. Bring that to you now and make your home, your place, what you do, a place of joy rather than constantly seeking for the future. So I'd say that was one of the most important things. It's letting go of your outcomes. And I don't mean letting go of your vision. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying detach yourself from that outcome and enjoy the now.
I love that. Thank you so much. And this is sort of also partly the lesson I've been getting this year and today from listening to one of my teachers. You get what you want when you're ready to receive it. But this year has been about becoming ready to receive it. Because if you receive it when you're not ready, you don't respect it, you don't appreciate it. Think about all the things that have come to you in your life, and it's just you're blasé with it. Money, jobs, career, people, parties, and it's the time to sit in the silence, as Sonia says, gives us that opportunity to really just to be. And this is going to be a very spiritual episode, I'm telling, but I feel like this is what we're doing as humans. We're starting to recognize what it's all about. I mean, all of us have got stories where pretty much all of us have worked in corporate roles and switched and transitioned into what we're doing now because we recognized at some point that what we wanted to feel mattered more than what we were able to get in that moment. So Simon, I can't wait to hear what yours is.
Well, first of all, I love what Claire and Sonia have said so far. They really resonate with my own experience. What Claire said reminded me of a quote by William Penn: time is what we want most, but we use the worst. And during the last year, we have had this unexpected time to really get to know ourselves. There's a great saying I came across on social media that said, the longest journey that you will go on are the inches between your head and your heart. And I think so often this year, people have had that time to go inwards when we haven't had the opportunity to go outwards. We've been able to go inside of us. And there's a reason we close our eyes. And when we close our eyes, that's when we are connected to what is most important. We can feel that. We feel from emotion. And once we realize what is most important, we become inspired and motivated and encouraged to focus and move forward in that. And what Sonia was saying on goals, reminded me when I visited Kyoto a couple of years ago, and I remember reading a statement at the front of one of the Zen temples that said, "Be attached to no outcome and open to everything." Because as 2020 has shown us, you might not be able to control or know where you're going to be in the next 3 or 5 years, let alone even the next week sometimes. But what we can control is what we are going to do in the next 24 hours. What are we going to do today? Because if there's anything I realize, is that you don't always get your goals, but you will always get your habits. And as I reflect on my own 2020 so far, I think one of the key things I can be grateful for is being reminded just how much of a miracle we all are. My wife and I gave birth to our first child, and seeing the process of a child being born into the world, despite that time coming just a few days after the country went into its first lockdown, and I couldn't be with her in the hours after her birth, it simply reminded me that we forget how much of a gift it is to be alive, to be born into this world. We had the luxury of waking up this morning. Many people around the world haven't. And when you think about it, too many of us wish we would win the lottery one day. We would win the national jackpot. What we forget, though, is in a way, we have kind of already won the greatest lottery there is going, the lottery of life. And the question for you is, what are you going to do with your winning ticket?
Totally. I love that. And it's quite interesting because I heard sort of similar conversations this morning around like this abundance mentality and how you are already abundant. But we've watched movies, we've read books, we've heard it over and over and over, and it's so simple that the brain just then discounts it. And the brain is so busy, like Simon says, like looking for the lottery win. But hang on a minute, did you have some water this morning, a cup of tea, a cup of coffee? Did you turn on the water? Did you shower? Did you eat food? Have you got a roof over your head? Did you come from a bed? All of these are abundance. All of these are manifestations. All of these are things that you have brought into your life. And we get so busy looking for these like giant, well, there's no Ferrari outside the front of my house, and I'm not living in a penthouse yet, and I'm not, partying on a yacht. And then you suddenly start to realize what it is that actually matters.
And I think, Abby, what you're saying there reminds me of the fact that it's only when we look back in time that we realize those small moments are actually the big things in life. And gratitude is the very practice that changes a meal into a feast, strangers into friends, life into miracles. Gratitude literally turns the simple things into the abundance that we seek.
Totally. So I would just love to invite our audience who are watching live, and if you're watching on replay, put into the comments what you can actually be grateful for, even though everything else may be far from ideal. What actually can you be grateful for? Because what we appreciate appreciates. What we don't appreciate depreciates. Obvious. It's simple, but it's not easy. And when we actually start to really acknowledge, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that, I've got 2 hands, I've got 10 fingers, I'm blinking grateful for that, because there's people in the world that don't. And you can just so quickly switch your mindset from lack and what you don't have and what is happening to you to this internal, this is who I am, and this is what I have, and this is what I'm grateful for. So let us know in the comments what you are grateful for, because we have heard from all of our panel, and now we're going to hear from Jennifer. So Jennifer, please let us know what you're grateful for in 2020 on the basis of time and distance from the year.
Hopefully you can hear me okay, because I had mic problems and I had to go out, so I'm glad you can hear me. Sorry I had to dip out for a sec, but that's the joys of going live in tech. So I think the main thing, I can resonate with absolutely everything that Claire, Sonia and Simon have said, and I think the main thing that I'm grateful for this year, and it might sound like you said I'll be a bit spiritual, like the realization that I am good enough as me, and the only thing we ever really have is the fact that we are unique. There's nobody like us in the world, but I've spent many years comparing myself to others. And if anybody knows the story of my business, they'll know I'm very much an accidental business owner. I set up after back surgery in corporate. So I always felt a bit of an imposter, if I'm honest. So I had massive imposter syndrome. And I niched down on LinkedIn about 2 years ago, but I did constantly compare myself to other LinkedIn trainers doing video. And usually we always compare ourselves to people who are a completely different personality type or way further down the line. So I'd be looking at somebody 10 years in business, a complete extrovert, whereas I'm an introvert and only a few years in business. So this year I kind of realized, you know what, I'm good enough as I am. I don't have to feel like I'm not as good as the others because I'm not doing it as long as them. I still have my own unique take. And you know, Abby, because you've helped me this year, and I'm grateful for you big time, because at the start of the year, I did do webinars, but you would never see me on a screen. Any of my webinars, you just get the PowerPoint, you'd hear the voice. I have no problem with the voice, but you'd never see this. And ironically, I've never looked worse this year in relation to, I've got grey roots today, all touched up with powder. And this is the year I kind of thought, you know, sod it, I'm going to go on, because we're all human beings. And that's what this year kind of taught us. We're all, you know, we all want to connect. And actually, I think sometimes people will connect with you more when you are, you know, with the powder touched up and then looking pristine and perfect. And that can be a little bit more intimidating. So thanks to Abby, I started my own show, which I was absolutely scared, excuse the language, shitless about. But I kind of thought, so I'm going to do it and see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? And Abby knows we did have the worst on the first one, because Abby was my first guest and the tech didn't work. So Abby kindly, we jumped over onto her LinkedIn Live and we still made it work. And actually people said they loved the fact that we had problems and then we kind of made a solution and just ran with it, because we could have easily said, you know, sorry, it didn't work. I could have done a post on LinkedIn and said, sorry, it didn't work today. That's it, you know, and given up. So I think, yeah, just realizing that I'm good enough. I don't have to be a supermodel when it comes to video. It's not about me. It's about the value I can bring and how I can help other people. Whereas before, you know, I think I used to worry about stupid things, you know, the hair, I can't do a video until I've been to the hairdressers, you know, all these excuses, or I need my makeup professionally done. And it's kind of like, no, you don't. It's what you say really that counts, as opposed to what you look like. So I'm grateful for getting over myself and appreciating myself at the same time.
Wow, I love that. And that is such a huge, huge one. If you've had that breakthrough this year, then that is just a one that takes the lid off of your possibility. And it's a one where there are multiple layers to this. When you realize it's not about you, it's about the lives you can impact. And I had a really, really big lesson last week from, I follow multiple mentors. And this lesson was so huge, because we often hear people say things and we're like, yeah, I heard that. And the brain just discounts it. But the more you discount something you've heard, the less you can do something with it. So it's not about whether you've heard it, it's about, have you done anything with it? So I heard somebody say, and I would love to invite anybody who's watching this to take this away with them as well. It's going to permeate the 24 goal year program next year. If you could only do what you're doing right now for 12 more months. So think about whatever it is that you're doing, your business, your life, you're being a parent, being a leader, running a podcast, running a business. If you could only bring you to that for 12 more months, what would you do in the next 12 months? What legacy would you leave? What systems would you put in? What paperwork? What lessons? Would you write letters to people to read in the future? What would you actually do? And this, I've heard it before, but this, when I heard it this time, was like a fire lit under me. So the 888 is something I teach. If I don't put things in place for this to grow next year and something happens, it won't. And I think it's such a great reminder, because we're often told, think you might die, think about, but because it's so in the future or a possibility, or it might not happen, the brain just discounts it. So I would strongly invite you to spend some time with that question. What could I do in the next 12 months to cement the legacy for whoever it is? And it's a mind-blowing exercise. So thank you everyone for sharing your gratitudes for this year. I'd love to know what it is that you've got for your plans for 2021. As we know, at the moment, plan and the universe has its own laugh. But as sort of Sonia was saying, if we don't have somewhere that we're going to, we're just going to fly like flags in the wind. So Claire, what's your focus for 2021?
Oh, I'm trying not to have too many focuses. Health is definitely one. Physical and mental and spiritual health, and just maintaining the level of commitment that I've had this year to it going forward, because I think this year we've been forced to rediscover spirituality, or forced to work out. But I think actually it's been medicinal, and I want to continue to sustain that. I think in terms of work, this is a biggie for me. Continue to exercise my right to say no. Believe it or not, I have turned down some income, some work this year. And in the back of my head, I was screaming and going, no, don't say no, you need that money. But my heart was saying, this is not integral to who you are. This is not what you want to be doing. Just because you can doesn't mean you have to. And actually, you're going to be all right. If all the birds in the sky are fine, if all the trees are still growing, and you'll be fine. And I've sustained. I've been fine. I've had less income, but the income that has come has almost felt blessed. It's gone a long way. It's, the 5 loaves, and they've been distributed much further. So I think going forward, it's being confident and comfortable with saying no. Sometimes less is more. I deleted my Facebook. I've deleted my website. I couldn't be all things to everyone. I couldn't be in all places. Let me do a little well. If I impact 1, 2, 5 people, and they engage, and we can continue to grow and learn from each other and experience the best, or what we really want, and pursue our purpose and our desires, then fine. I don't need to reach 5,000 people. I don't need to reach 5 million people. And there's a level of safety when the circle is secure, when the network is trustworthy and honorable. So that's a couple of things. I could go on, but I don't want to have the list. I don't want to have too many goals. One foot in front of another, stable, steady, secure, grateful, healthy, and that's good enough for me.
Love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it is so, so important that we focus on our foundation, because the foundation is what we build our lives upon. And if you ever, I'm just a random person where I love to watch things going on. If you've ever watched a building go up, I have, you will notice they spend so long on the foundations, like months and months on these foundations. And then you walk down the street and the building's almost up. How did that happen? It takes weeks to put the building up and months to put the foundations in. So I really, truly feel like 2020 has been the year where, to put in another analogy, we've been sowing the seeds. And it's really about, these seeds are going to come up strong, and these are going to be the plants that we want from these seeds, rather than just, we were given some seeds, we threw the packet on. We know that sunflowers, roses, whatever it is that's your plant that you love, is going to be coming up next year. But 2020 for me has really been around having the faith that it will. So with flown, had to fly on faith, because we've most of the year been flying through storms, clouds, and goodness knows what. So, Sonia, what does 2021 look like for you?
But you know what, Abby, when you first said that, my mind, obviously our lovely mind, went straight to business, this. And actually, I'm going to answer it like Claire answered it, which I actually, like, everyone's got their own priorities. And I think that's what I'm going to start looking at. It's back to what are my values and prioritizing my values. And we all are unique and we all have our own set of values. And I think too much time we spend in other people's values, or looking at social media, looking at mainstream media, looking what our friends, our family tell us, with actually listening to our own inner voice that has our own intrinsic values, our own true purpose. So I've actually thought long and hard about 2021. I'm going to do more thinking about it as well. But I think from the parts that I've really missed this year is connection. That's one of my highest values, connection. And I mean that from a relationship point, an intimate relationship and a friendship point of view, and the circle of people that I keep around me. That is so important. I'm an extrovert. I love people. And so for me, it's all about making that connection. Again, I'm connecting now, but it's more about, hopefully we'll get into the stage where we're face to face and I'm able to travel and meet people again. And I really think in terms of just coming back to being still and coming back to relaxation and to not do the rush, because I think it's going to be so easy for a lot of us that, once we're COVID, hopefully we're going to be released a little bit in 2021 with the vaccine, etc. And I think the temptation will be to go back to our mad, rushed lives and forget this year. And this year has actually been a blessing. Out of every crisis comes a blessing. You've just got to look for it and find it. And when you will find the blessing out of it. So for me, it's really, again, going back to what Claire first said, taking time. And in terms of my business, wow, I've got so many different things. I'm growing my show. I'm going to continue to focus on amazing, inspirational people such as yourselves and shine a light on your messages. And I've started my own production company, so it's shining a message on other people's stories and how I can help them by storytelling implement their message as well. And by the end of the year, I'll be running awards as well, my own award events around awards. So yes, lots of thoughts on the business landscape where I've got complete certainty. And it's so funny because I think we're all different, but that's where the certainty is. But where I need to concentrate is more on the personal, the relationship side, the personal side of myself.
Amazing. Love it. Thank you so much for sharing that, because who we are is the fuel for the car. We can dress, and I think it's finally that we as humans are starting to see that the stories, the beliefs we've been given about what we need are falling away, because you can put the amazing clothes on, you can have the perfect handbag, you can live in the ideal address with the ideal vehicle, blah, 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 blah. But when somebody's in your presence, if your energy's off, we can start to feel it now. And I think having had a year where we've not really been around too many different energies, we are as humans going to become so incredibly sensitive to sticky energy. It's amazing. So let's go to you, Simon. What are your plans for 2021?
Fantastic. I'm going to answer it 3 quick ways. I think first, on the business side, my focus is to finish my book, something I started this year, and was another thing that I'm grateful for, to be partnering with Penguin to write my first book. So that's something that's going to be right in my focus. It's not easy. The longest thing I've written before this was probably a social media caption or blog post. So going from that to the length of a book is certainly going to be a challenge. Second, from a personal point of view, I'm looking to continue the amount of quality time that I've had with my wife and my child. As we talked about so far, I've been blessed to have this time this year. I haven't had to travel. I haven't had to commute anywhere. So I've been able to spend literally every day with the family. Obviously, as things start to open up, I want to make sure that can continue without being sacrificed when people start moving around, when people start being able to meet in person. And the third is more, I guess, a hope on the back of 2020 and into 21, just for all of us in general. I hope that out of 2020, we can all be kinder to one another. We can all understand each other better and realize that actually every one of us is going through a challenge. Whatever the exterior shows, all of us are going through some sort of challenge, and to be more understanding of one another.
Love it. I'm just taking a quick look at the comments while you're sharing your amazing wisdom with us. And everybody is resonating so much with what you guys are saying, and also sharing their own gratitudes. We have literally, this is what it has been incredible about doing the show this year, is we've got people watching this from Australia, from the Netherlands, from Munich, from Shropshire, from Spain. Sorry if I've missed out your country. But yeah, just the way we've been able to connect without being able to connect is just so incredible. And that quality time that Simon was just saying with people is, what is it about otherwise? Like, we're chasing money, significance, we're chasing all of these things, building mega businesses so that we can have what we already have, but we're not appreciating what we have. What about if we spend the time with what we have and then add to it? Then we've got the multiplier effect. Amazing. And I really can't wait for your book. And when I saw that you were with Penguin, I was literally, not gonna lie, first thing I was like, oh my God, how did he get Penguin? Second thing, because this is the human in all of us. Second thing was, Abigail, if you want that, you need to celebrate the heck out of him, because if it's possible for him, it's possible for you. And I think that this has been sort of the biggest thing of 2020, is that we're looking at people's external without knowing the internal. And we're also confronting our own shadows. And it's so important just to celebrate everything and everyone, because you cannot have what you resent in another.
And it reminds me, Abby, just to add quickly, too often we look at how far we've got to go, but we discount the fact of realizing just how far we have come. And I think at this time of the year, it's an especially good moment to reflect on just how far you've come, the challenges you've overcome, who you've become as a result of that, not just focus all your time on how far you've yet to go.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. Simon is such an awesome guru on these things. We've also got France in the house. I just have to say, somebody's added. The other thing I want to say to you when we're hitting sort of the 30-minute mark is, these guys in their own right are all awesome human beings. So I would highly encourage you to go find them on social media and consume their content, because each of them has got amazing things to say. And at the end, they're going to tell you where they hang out the most. But just because we haven't physically got hours of time now to delve into the depths of the treasure troves that these humans are. So Jennifer, 2021 plans, what's going on for you?
I loved everything that you've all been saying. I think similar to Claire, it's the year of saying no. And I know that sounds hard, because I am a bit of a people pleaser. I like to keep people happy. And I'll be honest, it was interesting that Sonia said she's craving connection. I feel like I've had too much connection this year, because I am an introvert and I am an empathic introvert. So I feel the energy of people in a Zoom anyway, or a video. So I have been a bit like a busy fool, attending so many like Zoom, business networks. I've kind of done so much that I feel like I burnt out a little. And I took on a lot of volunteering, which I know is a nice thing to do, but it can burn you out. So I've been proud of myself. I've actually already stepped down from a volunteer role. I've been nice and given them up to until March notice. But it's like, even though it's a great role, it was taking my energy as an introvert, because even though you know, any volunteer role, they say it's a few hours, but it all depends on your energy, because I had to host something virtually. So even though it's only an hour and a half, 2 hours a month, for me, that's a half a day, because I have to psych myself up, then kind of follow up after. So you have to kind of step back and go, actually, is this working for me? You know, so I'm going to be a lot more strategic with my time next year. And my big goal really is to see family. I haven't seen my family in Ireland for over a year now, because I was due to fly back to see them in March, right before all this crazy, and then Flybe collapsed. So I was like, oh my God. So I was overdue a visit then, never mind now. So I cannot wait to go to Dublin. Can't wait to see my in-laws up in Manchester. So that's like my goal, but I'll be doing less networking. I'll be focused on LinkedIn, which is really where I want to spend more time and hang out. And I will still do like networking, but it'll be once a month. Whereas at the start I was doing, I don't know, so many every week. I just felt like, so I think there is such a thing as too much networking, and you need, like Claire was saying, you need to kind of figure out where's the best place for you to hang out. So for Claire, it was Instagram, that's her tribe. Mine is LinkedIn, that's my tribe. So I actually want to do more videos on LinkedIn, blogs on LinkedIn, and networking that way. Whereas I found I was kind of people pleasing a bit. Would you like to come to our network? Okay, yeah. And then, you know, an hour goes into 2, and then a half day's gone, and then I'm tired and I can't get back on track in the afternoon. And so, yeah, it's the year of saying no and just being more strategic with my time and thinking, you know, as you've said, Abby, energy goes where energy flows. So you need to put the right energy in, because I do a lot of saying yes to keep everybody else happy, but it's going to be about keeping me happy. And even me saying that, I feel selfish, because that's the kind of person I am. But I know you have to be selfish and put yourself first, because you can't, you know, if you burn out, you can't help anyone. So yeah, it's the year of saying no. I know it sounds very negative, but no in a good way, in a strategic, and I'll be able to help more people actually if I say no, because I won't be burning myself out volunteering.
I love this. I love that. This is like music to my ears. And I just want to say, you're not saying no, you're saying yes. You're saying yes to yourself.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Not no to other people, because there will always be other people that will step in and do the stuff. That's the funny thing. But it's a habit to always be the pleaser, because it was what you learned as a child. So 0 to 7 teaches us everything we need to know. Claire?
I just wanted to say, I don't like the word selfish in that. I think it's self-loving, and I think self-loving is so important.
Just while I have a mindset guru on the show, I want to ask Simon for some success sort of mindset strategies. What has helped you from a mindset point of view in 2020 that we could sort of take into 2021? Simon, what are some simple tips? Maybe give us 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think the first that comes to my mind is to appreciate the challenges. You know, so often we can look at challenges in a negative way. The last big crisis that the world faced was in 2008, which was a global financial crisis. I had just spent 12 months working in an investment bank a year before I started. And even worse, the company I started with was called Lehman Brothers, which went bankrupt in September 2008. Now, what that experience taught me, as I hope this year has also taught you, is that it is in your hardest times, it is in your darkest moments that equips you with the wisdom, the insight, and skills to begin to create the best times of your life. So look at challenges in a way that it is a lesson disguised in what can look like on the surface a negative problem. Look for the lesson. What is the lesson here? What is it trying to teach me? What can I do to move things forward despite the challenge? Because I guarantee you this, whenever you embark on a new adventure, a new journey in your life, you will face setbacks, challenges, and failure. But those do not matter nearly as much as how you choose to respond to them. Because in your response lies your greatest power. And it reminds me, Abby, of a famous quote from one of my favorite film franchises, the Rocky franchise, in which Rocky looks at his son in the street after they've had an argument, and he says to his son, "It is not about how hard you can hit, but it is about how hard you can get hit and keep getting up again and again and again. That is how winning is done." Which leads me to my second point. It is the power of consistency. It is the power of consistency. I think Denzel Washington summed this up beautifully when he accepted an award a couple of years ago, in which he said, without commitment, you will never begin. But more importantly, without consistency, you will never finish. Because fundamentally, you don't get what you do once in a while. You get what you do day in, day out, day in, day out. You are what you repeatedly do. I often get asked, what is the secret to success? Well, simply this. It is to be found in your daily routines. That is where you can find the secret to anyone's success. Look at what people's habits are. Look at what they embrace, what they value, and what their actions tell you. And the third thing, to finish, is have a bias to action. Now, I don't mean big action. You know, it can be a tiny action. It can be the smallest, tiniest step. Don't put the pressure on yourself to have to take a big action. A simple step forward each day is all it takes to begin the process of momentum. And imagine a year from now, after listening to this show, where you could be a year from now if you took just one tiny step forward each day. That is 365 steps forward in a year. Just imagine where you could be.
Amazing. Thank you, the mindset guru there, guys. Anita is saying she loves the Rocky scene. I love that one too. And you just reminded me, I knew all those words. I think I watched it loads of times as well. It's a great, if you search it on YouTube, you'll be able to find that scene from that movie. So we've got an interesting question, and I think, Simon, you're the one to answer this. So Farzan is saying she finds it really hard to focus on one target. It seems she wants to do too many things. Let me put that question up. She wants to do too many things. So then she's saying, oh, someone's talking about an amazing book. How can I focus? How can I zero it on the focus? Does that make sense? So how to just focus on one thing rather than multiple things?
Sure. So simply put, Farzana, the way to zero in on anything, if you want to get deeper focus on anything, is to understand why it's important to you. When you understand the importance of anything, you will make time for it. You know, just to give you an example, I know a friend of mine, and she's been saying to me for years, Simon, I want to give up smoking. I want to stop smoking one day, but she's never done it. And now she's had her first child. When she was in the process of giving birth, she knew that if she smoked, it would harm the baby. So guess what? Suddenly she stopped smoking because she's got a reason to give up. So you've got to understand, what are your reasons? You know, there's a saying that goes, the bigger the why, the easier the how. And one of the exercises you can do, Farzan, is go deeper beneath what you want. So let's say if what you want to focus on is X, ask yourself, what is important about X? And then you'll get to step 2, and then ask yourself again, what is important about Y? What is important about Z? And that will help you to get to the root, the source of why it is actually important for you to do that. And the more connected you are emotionally to that, the easier it is to be productive.
Amazing, amazing, great answer. Yeah, emotion, it's the key. Sonia, you've had some amazing people on your show. How many episodes are you up to now?
Oh my gosh, I've lost count. But back to what Simon said about consistently, I've consistently put out a show a week since I started last July. So I've been going now a year and a half. And again, and just back to your question, it was about me finding out what my values were and prioritizing those values. And when you really understand your true purpose, your telos, why you are here, each of us has our gifts in life. And when you tap into those gifts and you realize this is why I am here, then great things can happen. And then literally you want to do the things that you realize, oh my God, this is what brings me joy. And, you know, back to my show, I absolutely love it. It doesn't feel like work. I get up in the morning and I love doing it. But obviously little things can come in and distract you from those. If you're not prioritizing your highest values, you will be distracted by low priority actions. So just back to what Simon said, you know, prioritize and give yourself what is your true why, what is your true purpose, what is your gift. And you know, for me, I've really discovered, and it brings me joy, and it gives me goosebumps thinking about, you know, this week I've got 2 great guests I'm interviewing, and yeah, no, I absolutely love it.
So obviously you've interviewed many amazing people, and we can find them
including
all on
your good self, Abby. You were one of my
including me. Maybe Simon will be on the show next.
Yes.
And it's going to be really hard to answer this question because the answer is going to be so many things. But if you think back over all of the episodes, what's one of the things that you can consistently see is coming up? And maybe you and Simon have just already answered it, but just to reiterate what the point is that has allowed the people to get to where they've got to. I
think one of the main things, and Simon did talk about this earlier, and it's back to the Rocky quote, you know, and I've got that on my website. It's my favorite quote. So you can go on soniamortonfirth. You'll see Rocky, and you'll see that's my quote. It's out of adversities, out of challenges, that's the time you grow the most. And if you can just take a step back and look at what these challenges are showing you, what these adversities, and actually step up, because this is the time you can grow. And if you can, and then my guests have been through adversities, they've been through challenges, yet they've stepped up and they're continuing to serve others despite some awful things that they've been through. And really, you know, that they're inspirational people and from all different walks of life. But most of them have got one thing in common. They don't lead an ordinary life, and they do not let challenges get to them. They step up and they use it as a time to grow and move forward and to serve. And I think that is really something that's resounding. This year has been slightly different. I've had, you know, mental health has come out as a huge commonplace theme this year. But really, again, out of the situation of challenges, adversities, and, you know, look at this year. Look at this year. This has been a challenge for all of us. It doesn't matter. We could sugarcoat it. We could say whatever, but we've all had our challenges. But if you can just take that and think, wow, out of every crisis is a blessing. There is a blessing. We've all had our blessings this year as well, and just recognize that. Ponder on it. I'd write it down. I'd write down all the blessings that you've had this year, the achievements, the little wins. Take that into 2021. That's the
amazing.
best.
Amazing. Oh, wow. Guys, can you believe we're coming up to 50 minutes now, and we could all keep going, and you guys in the questions could all keep going as well. But I just want to do a quick whip round. So each of you let us know where is the best place for us to find you hanging out, so that we can all go do some more deep diving, some research, some binging, and connect with you on online. So Claire, let's start with you. Where do you hang out most?
It tends to be Instagram, because I like to celebrate the everyday. I do a lot of work behind the scenes, and I got into a habit of just pushing that out so much. But now I just quite enjoy being a human. I think it makes me a bit more approachable. And I really welcome people to drop me a line on LinkedIn, message me. I'm very, very responsive. And I just really want conscious connection. So don't feel afraid to, you know, if it looks like there's not much there, just drop me a line, and then I can open up and we can actually enjoy getting to know each other and sharing our experiences and searching for opportunities, mutually beneficial opportunities. So yeah, Claire Clotty, spelled the right way with an I in it, Claire. So many variations of Claire. So Instagram, LinkedIn.
Amazing. So Sonia, where should we start for you?
So my show is at the Sonia Morton Firth Show. So literally my name. You can find me on YouTube. Please hit the subscribe button. You won't get spammed. And you can see all my inspirational guests there. It also goes out on a podcast, the Sonia Morton Firth Show. And then if you would like to connect with me directly, I'm on Facebook, Sonia Morton Firth. And I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram at the Sonia Morton Firth Show. So
amazing. So pretty much Sonia Morton Firth, put that into any search and you'll find her. Simon, where's the best place for you?
I would say LinkedIn or Instagram. So you can find me on LinkedIn. Feel free to send a connection request or ask me any questions you may have after the show. Or on Instagram, my handle is @SimonAlexanderO. And again, feel free to follow me there and check out some of the content.
Where's your best place to hang out?
LinkedIn.
Amazing.
LinkedIn.
Amazing. So guys, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you all, very busy people, and for sharing your wisdom and for sort of allowing this conversation to go where it's gone. 2020 has been what it's been, but hopefully if you've been watching the show and you're watching this on the replay, you will agree that there are some positives to come out of quite a tumultuous year. So tomorrow on the show, it is our second to last show. So there's only 2 more shows left of this year because Wednesday is episode 100. So tomorrow, episode 99, I am being joined by Alison Bean, who I have been trying to get onto the show right from the very beginning. Alison is a counsellor and runs a counselling agency and has just literally this year, as you can imagine, been inundated with people who have needed to talk through what's been going on for their mental health. So Alison tomorrow is going to come on. She's going to teach us how to make a positivity jar that we can use in 2021, which is just so awesome. So all you will need to do is turn up with a piece of paper tomorrow and find an empty jar that you've got at home. Anything will do, and you'll be able to get going with this. And I was just looking to see if I could find mine. I find it really helpful on the days, because we all have it on the days where we need a drop of joy. You can just pick something out, read it, and it will lift your mood instantly. So that's Alison on tomorrow at 11. And then please tune in on Wednesday for episode 100. We're going to be celebrating this incredible year. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and please keep washing those hands, wearing those masks, and health is wealth, people. See you soon.
Bye. Thank you.